I've never been ejected, which is wild because I have red hair and I have short fuse. And I guess I just know where to stop.
Yeah.
I know where the line is. And even in even growing up, like as bad as my temper was, I never got kicked out. I never got technicals, any of that stuff. But anyway, we were at Nebraska. We were thinking we thought it was a tough night. We didn't feel like the home plate umpire was doing us any favors. And of course we're losing or whatever. Or it was a tight game and things were just going against us. And the umpire looked over in the dugout and just said, "Hey, that's enough," or whatever. And then I think the next pitch was like a ball or something like that. And I said something like, "Of course," didn't cuss, didn't do anything. He looked at Rick and threw him out. And I was just like, sweet, I'm a head coach.
Yeah, I got to.
But that happened. Rich is like, "Me? I didn't say anything." And I'm just like, yeah, that's me.
After the camp, my players and I ran up to him and started doing the gritty. And he got mad.
I'll never forget the face of this cheerleader for the rest of my life.
Have you met the football players? They're the worst guys on campus.
Kid's like, "Yeah, we know blue too," and it's like yelling it out and stuff.
Sometimes he'll be in the hallway just pounding push-ups, going like, "Great morning, gentlemen!"
Right.
You have to use the bleep button a lot.
That might be.
Being an athlete means pushing your body to its limits. At the Recenter, Coralville's all-new holistic wellness center, you can get back in the game much quicker. The Recenter offers a wide array of athletic recovery treatments such as IV therapy, mild hyperbaric chamber, oxygen therapy, infrared sauna, and Normatec compression therapy.
So whether you have a big game or marathon you're training for, or you're recovering from a tough workout, come to the Recenter to get rehydrated, refreshed, and recovered much quicker. Call 319-694-6086 to schedule an appointment. Student discounts are available.
We are back, episode 31, with my co-host and a special guest, Coach Marty Sutherland. Marty, how we doing?
I'm great, Patrick. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So Marty, first question, I'm gonna start off with something light. Who do you think would be the worst basketball player on the baseball team?
That's a really good question, and I'm guessing there's some guys that think they're pretty good and probably aren't. Reese Moore was a wrestler in high school. I've never seen a good basketball player who wrestled. No. That's always been awful. Yep. Maybe Gable Mitchell. He wrestled, his whole life.
Yeah.
Those two. I'm trying to think of our biggest guy. I know it could be Chaz.
Yeah, they say he's bad.
Yeah, he was like a big time volleyball player in Canada, like a junior national team type volleyball player. Yeah. But my guess is it's not good. I bet it'd be pretty bad.
Some of the guys, like we used to play, I mean, we had some squads back in the day with the baseball guys that would play open gym. I mean, Ben Norman was always good. Isaiah always thought he was good.
Did Ben Norman play high school basketball?
Yeah, he played. He was good. Shane Ritter could like windmill and he was a freak. I mean, Keaton can shoot it.
I played with Marcus
Seegers
Morgan.
is pretty good. Yeah, Seegers is
Marcus,
good. Marcus
is good. Marcus is good.
Sure, one of the guys. Brendan Sure, he was just not very good when we would go play. He was. I mean, but like still, you could do a lot worse. Hucksdorf thinks he's pretty good.
It's probably not great.
You go down the
line.
I'm
trying to think. Somebody was. We were at Michigan State, and we shower in the old plate. No, we were somewhere else.
Rutgers. I remember Isaiah posted on his story. He was walking through the rack.
Yeah, but we didn't have a basketball. We were playing somewhere. Maybe it was when we were in Florida and we had to go shower at a high school on get out day, and guys were shooting around. And I'm Ben Butel. I've never seen a ball spin off somebody's hand that way who's shooting a basketball. And actually, there was times it didn't spin. I mean, literally, right, I was like, how is that possible that you can shoot it? That's a knuckleball.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it before, but it was awful. And then you had his mullet, and it was just terrible.
The mullet was bad.
It was awful.
I tried to tell him, like, bro, you can't have the mullet.
No.
You know who was really bad is Zoe.
Yeah?
Renzo, he was horrible.
Please tell me
So-
Isaiah wasn't really great. Just thought he was pretty good.
Isaiah was good.
Isaiah was good. He was a good. I mean, he's just Isaiah. Like, you know how you could predict how he was. Like, he was better than he should have been, and
Really happy to be on offense. Horrible, just not happy to be on defense.
Yeah, no, he was not a great defender, but he was better than you give him credit, and he was faster than everybody thought, quicker than everybody thought. He was a good shooter. He could handle the ball. He never turned it over. I mean, he was just a solid, like.
No, Isaiah was a good
was
high
just
school. I think he
solid,
had
like-
like 60 assists, 12 turnovers on the season.
Yeah.
Shot like 40% from 3. He was a good high school player.
Yeah, he was a good player, and he, like, I don't know, it's just kind of funny, like, because then you go and play with him now, and I mean, some of those pickup games are just awesome to watch them play.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Well, Isaiah thinks he's Steph Curry. Like, he legitimately
does.
thinks that he's like a really good basketball player.
He
Like
does.
he was solid. Like,
Yeah.
But
He would always bring up the hypothetical, and I'm going to mess up kind of what he thought was basically is like if I played 20 minutes a game in the NBA, could I average 10 points a game or whatever? And that was him, and
Absolutely
he
not.
was convinced that he could, and everybody else was convinced he couldn't. But obviously, you're not winning that argument
No.
with him.
It's not an argument you're winning. It's
So-
not an argument you're winning. Definitely not.
sounds like something Isaiah would say.
Let's move on. That's a good opener. But let's get into your coaching background a little bit. For those of you who don't know, Marty is the associate head coach to Coach Heller. One of the best baseball minds I've ever been around, along with Coach. Just
Professional sign
the type,
stealer.
the type of stuff
Be
that
good at
like
something.
we
Altuve.
notice.
Altuve.
We didn't bang any trash cans. We did it all
We
in
don't
the
bang
open
trash cans.
Legally.
And
Legal
we'll get into
sign
that.
stealer.
We'll get into that. But just I want to get into like what started. I mean, obviously your playing career. We talked with Coach Heller in a previous episode about you playing for him at second base, and I mean, I've heard you were a good player. You can speak on that. I don't know. But,
I think we all think we were a little better than we probably were.
but yeah,
Get frustrated in the dugouts, like I would have never done that.
yeah, right.
You know.
Never
Meanwhile,
swung at
we
that
did
pitch.
that stuff all the time.
Yeah, of course. But give yourself an intro here. I guess.
Well, growing up, I think most people probably when I was done with high school would have thought that coaching was probably something I would end up doing. I was a point guard, shortstop, just that type of player. And so it was always something that I thought a lot about doing. I'm from the same hometown as Greg McDermott, and he was already into his coaching career. So there were some guys from a small community that had gone and done that and done it, really well.
Right.
So
Cascade, right?
Cascade,
Recent
yeah.
Hall of Fame inductee.
Yeah, great. I was
got
sweet in high school. I was so sweet in high school.
I got a text yesterday from Nate McMullen, the coach at Cascade, and he said that Marty is still the all-time assist leader at Cascade High School.
That's big time.
Yeah.
It's
That
true.
is big.
Ball distributor, but to the best. They're still letting me shoot.
I think everybody from Cascade is somehow related because
Jared
everyone's
Napper.
cousins in
Jared
Cascade.
Napper.
So I'm not related to any nappers. All right.
Greens.
But he knows
no
all of them.
greens. I know them all. Not
The Nappers, the Greens.
no.
There's 100 of each of them.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
But yes, there is some relations that I have back there that were good athletes, good players. I played in college at UNI for Rick, and there was 4 of us from Cascade on that team at UNI, and I was this is so bad. I was first cousins with one of them, Jason Simon's his name. His daughter's coming to play softball here next year. Devin's a really good player. But his dad and my mom are brother and sister, and then another kid, Roman Hummel, who's now the head baseball coach at Cascade at the high school. His mom and Jason's mom were sisters. So Jason was first cousins with me and then also with Roman, but I wasn't cousins with Roman.
That just sounds like
So
Cascade.
there's a merry-go-round that happens like that pretty much, a lot.
It's like when everybody starts marrying their high school sweetheart. Is that what happens?
And then they just don't move away, right?
Yeah,
they
everybody
just
stays there.
Yeah, they just kind of stay around. It's a great place. It's God's country. So coaching wise, and then when I was in college, I went back and coached freshmen at the high school level. So did that for a couple years, and then when I was done playing, I had to finish off school. I had a semester left. I went and coached at Wartburg, Division III in Waverly, for a great coach, Joe Holst, who's still there. And so I finished up school and I did that, and then the volunteer assistant opened up on Rick's staff at UNI, and that's when I got back in with him. And then I was with him throughout the time at UNI till it went away. Then got out, thought I was probably done and over with, And then when he got the job here, he was stupid enough to hire me back, and he hasn't got rid of me yet. So good for me, I guess. Bad for everybody else. But, so I've been with him for it's about 17 years as a coach and then another 2 as a player. So known him for a long, long time.
He puts a lot of trust in you, and you, I mean, obviously reward him with a ton of loyalty. But has there ever been an opportunity, or if there was, like, I know this is an insane hypothetical, but, I mean, I can't imagine you as a head coach. I think you would succeed 100%. So, I mean, you want to stay with coach, but I mean, we've been really good. Like, has anything come up at any point?
There has been an overture or 2, but nothing like super serious, and I haven't pursued a lot.
Right.
I kind of look at it as we've done a lot of really good things here, but we haven't done what we want to do yet, and we're not where we want to be. And I'm from Iowa. This place means a lot to me, this state, and just really believing in Rick's vision that we can do it here and be, just maybe get that next step taken care of, or just get to that next part of the program where we think we can get it. And so that's been my focus. And so that's really just where it's been. There's been a couple, but nothing crazy. I don't put my name out there or anything like that.
Right.
But, like anything else, the more successful you are, the more, those types of things come forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to get into the Iowa thing, being from Iowa and recruiting as such, because, I mean, people from Iowa take a lot of pride in Iowa and the University of Iowa. It happens in basketball. Pretty much when we get a big recruit, a so-called big recruit, they're from Iowa. I mean, if you go down the list, like the higher ranked guys are from Joe Wieskamp, Patrick, these get like guys like that. I mean, go down, like we could go back Adam Woodbury back in the day, talk about a lot of those guys. But it's the same in baseball, I'm sure. We've talked about it before. And you are, I mean, I know Coach recruits a ton and Coach Robin recruits, but you definitely, at least stand out to me. Maybe it's just because we talked probably the most, but you are one of the main recruiters, and you really, like, you get out there and you're seeing guys. And I mean, some of the stuff you notice, like, that we talk about is stuff that I couldn't even think of. But being from Iowa, going after a lot of Iowa kids, what is that like? Getting those guys that want to play at Iowa, is passionate about Iowa, all of those things.
Well, first off, and your dad probably feels the same way, it's the lifeblood of your program. If the best players don't stay here, it's going to be really difficult from those reasons you just talked about. Your best chance to get an elite level performer is probably in your state, right? Because of the tie that has been created throughout their life. I mean, you guys know this. You guys came from places that there was a lot more professional sports going on. We're in a state that has no professional sports. And so these kids grow up watching Iowa outside of, a little pocket around Ames and the little pocket around Cedar Falls. I mean, most people grow up Hawkeye fans. Mm-hmm. And, it's so much, the sports are so visible to them anymore with the way social media works and all that type of stuff. I mean, they just have a chance to follow really closely. And so they grow up wanting to do those types of things. And so, you as a coach, your job is to get in front of those guys as much as you can, make sure that you're visible to those people. That way they're like, okay, this is a real possibility. And they want to do that. And they want to come to our place as opposed to going somewhere else with not the same ties or just not the same feeling as it's going to be when you could do that for your own state. And so that's what you're promoting, right? Hey, don't go join somebody else. Come do it here. Right. Let's be special here. And I tell those kids all the time, it's going to mean so much more if you do it here than it will anywhere else. Doesn't mean it wouldn't be a great experience or any of that type of stuff, but when it's your home and you represent your state and you're wearing that in the front of your jersey, it's just going to feel different. And you won't probably know that until it's done. Right. But take my word, that's what's going to happen. And so that's what you're trying to do. You want pride in your program. You want to do well so that they look at it as a place that, oh man, they're really good, and I want to go there and be the next person to help, continue it on the path that it's on, to keep doing special things. So that's where it has to start. And the cool thing about, and you guys know this through travel, I mean, there are so many Hawkeye fans everywhere. It's wild. And it doesn't matter which airport I'm in or where I'm at. It's a Go Hawks from somebody. Or somebody's story about their grandfather going to Iowa, or, I mean, it's wild how, and I'm sure we're not, that I'm sure other places have this similar feel to it, but for whatever reason, it doesn't matter where you're at. So the pride thing really matters, and that's what you're trying to really talk to those guys about, along with, hey, look, we've been pretty successful. We have guys that have had chances professionally, that have had great experiences here, and so that's what you're really, really talking as much about as you can.
Hold on, I have a quick question.
You go.
So you guys get like, what is it, 11.7 scholarships or something like that?
Yeah.
This might be kind of a stupid question, but do those scholarships, is it the same? Because it's much cheaper in state than it is out of state. Is scholarship to scholarship the same? It holds the same amount of weight regardless, or how does that work?
Yeah, so like a 0.5 is a 0.5. So whether that's, you're putting that towards an out-of-state kid or an in-state kid doesn't matter, but obviously that is going to stretch, way further in an in-state kid. They're going to pay way less out of pocket. So normally the in-state kids, from the percentage standpoint, may be on a little less percentage. You don't have to pay as much to get them as far as just working off of the 11.7, just because it's, to make it easier, it's 20 grand as an in-state student and it's 40 grand as an out-of-state student. So, if it's 50, give them 50%, one kid's paying 10, the other kid's paying 20, that stuff really matters. So it really, again, getting really quality in-state students allows you, or in-state players allows you then to maybe go outside of your state and make a bigger offer to somebody that you feel like can really come and impact your program. Just because you're able to give them more because you got more in-state kids on a little bit. Just again, it's just a percentage. It's just a decimal, that you're working off of. So it's not like you're shortchanging them.
Right.
It's just, the money's a little different.
Yeah. I want to ask you two things kind of going off of that. You talk about the pride in your state and what it means and how it's not easier, but it is easier to get kids from Iowa than it is anywhere else. And it's just the way that it is in recruiting. But like coming from New York, do you remember like what your like thoughts on Iowa or opinion on Iowa was before we got here? Like, would you have ever considered growing up in New York? Would you have ever been like, oh, I'm going to go to school in Iowa?
No.
Do you even remember? Like,
well, like I remember being super upset when my parents told me we were moving here.
It's been widely publicized.
Yeah.
You too.
I was very upset.
Kicking and screaming out here.
And I think I feel like when I committed here, I took more pride in the program as opposed to like the state.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like it was just like, okay, like I love the program. I love the guys who came before me, the coaches, all that kind of stuff. It was like more so in the program as opposed to the whole state. But I think now that I've been in Iowa now for, 13, 14 years, something like that.
I think it's like 12.
It's like now like they're kind of starting to come around with that. But at first it was like kind of like weird because I wasn't born here. I didn't like my formative years. When I was younger, we're in New York or in North Carolina. So it was just different. But no, definitely I think as I've gotten older, as I've been here longer, I've taken more pride in the state for sure.
And then going off of that too, taking pride in playing for Iowa, what's the craziest like airport story that you have of somebody coming up to you and saying just like something insane about Iowa?
Well,
like,
it kind of those happen a lot. Like it'll be like kind of like this guy. Like there was this guy sitting next to me on the plane when we were going to Nashville and was like, "Hey, do you know so and so? He's my son's best friend." And I'm like,
40,000 people go to Iowa.
I'm like, that's like, but I knew so and so.
Oh, you knew who it was.
I knew so and so. So I was like,
you played right into the stereotype.
Yeah, I was like, when I got on this plane, if I thought the person next to me was gonna bring up one person, it wasn't gonna be this guy. Just bizarre.
Those kind of stuff.
It's just like a lot of stuff, but like no like crazy coincidences, I guess you could say, but like a lot of just like they'd be like, oh, you go to Iowa, do you know this person or this person? I guess one of them, I was sitting next to Sam Close's aunt.
Yeah, that was crazy.
When I was in New York, Sam Close is one of our managers, and Dickie's aunt too, and so that was kind of wild.
Yeah.
But other than those, nothing super crazy in the airport.
People like, oh, like,
Go Hawks.
You gonna get hammered at El Rey's or you gonna go to Airliner or Brothers?
You know me well.
Yeah, everybody like
there.
like okay.
The biggest thing is the potato thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like everybody's like,
yeah.
oh, Iowa, he's got great potatoes. I'm like,
No.
they're good, but they're not what
That's-
you're talking about.
No.
Far away.
You know, that's kind of out west, not us. Or Ohio, that's another one they mess up. I don't, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can move on from that. I want to talk about analytics. So I tweeted out that you were coming on and that coach was coming on. And that was one of the questions I thought was pretty interesting.
Wasn't it Jeff Johnson?
I think it was Jeff. wasn't
Shout
it?
out Jeff
Yeah, I
Johnson.
think it was him. He
Guy loves
said,
baseball.
do you ever worry that people are starting to lose sight of the game and the intricacies of the game because analytics are not taking over, but you're seeing such a growth in that? And like, are this kind of thing that like you go and, because it happens all the time now, and I'll use basketball in this. It's like, okay, yeah, you look at, I'm not going to name a name, but you look at player A, and he averaged last year 18, 7, and 7. Pretty good on paper, pretty good numbers, pretty good stats. I watched 75% of the games. That guy sucked. Like,
Yeah.
he was bad. He was bad. I watched the game. I watched it. He played bad. He didn't
team
help
was
the team win.
8-22.
His team didn't win.
Plus minus is terrible.
He's not he's not a good player. Like, okay, cool. He averaged 7. So it's like, yeah, there's analytics, but like, how much of that? And that there's always got to be a balance, and it's in baseball too. You're gonna always, oh, this kid hit 375 and he hit 14 bombs and whatever. But no, like, I'm going to watch this kid. And do you think that there's not anyone that's losing sight of that, but is it taking over to an extent that we can't recover from?
Well, I don't know if it'll. This stuff goes in cycles to a degree. You know, it's gonna go a little bit back and forth. I think it's like anything else. It's somewhere in the middle, right?
Right.
It's using the data to put yourself in the best position to win, but also watching the game well enough to say, okay, I understand that typically this is what I would do, but this guy's really hot. This guy, you can just, you feel like he's going to come through. I know he's not hitting well, but like, I'm not going to bunt him because he's seeing the ball really well right now. Just stuff like that. I think, having done it, I've done it half the time that Coach Heller has done it, but I think you have accrued, just like your dad, you've accrued some gut feel to what's going on and the way the game goes on occasion. But like the analytics, it's funny because baseball is so much about just kind of stacking the odds in your favor.
Right.
But you get euchred, man. Like, the stuff doesn't work. You could everything yells to do this and you do it, and then just the ball finds a hole, or you get a call that goes against you. And so that's when it's really frustrating. And there are times where all you're doing is you're going by the book, what it says to do, and you're just going to live and die by it because you can live with that.
Right.
If you go against the grain, sometimes it's a little bit tougher to swallow that. It's like, man, I shouldn't have done that, but I just kind of felt like it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that tear you up. Like when you feel like you put that guy in the right position and did everything that you should do, but it didn't work in your favor, it's maybe a little easier to sleep at night on something like that. And so it's somewhere in the middle. The analytics have allowed us to coach the game better in a lot of different ways. We just understand the reasons behind things that we saw before. You didn't really have a reason for why it was going that way, but now you have, these types of things. Mm-hmm. I think to the pitching side of things, the analytics have made pitchers, it's made it really difficult to hit. It's harder and harder to hit every year. Guys throw harder. They understand how to use their stuff according to how it moves and how it reacts and all that type of stuff. And here we are as hitters. It's still 60 feet 6 inches, but they're throwing harder. Their stuff moves better, and it's just like, when are we going to get an advantage here? Yeah. Maybe we just allow them to do roids again. I don't know. Just to like put some offense. No, we don't want to do that. But, they're going to take away shifting, and they're going to take away some of these other things that have, made it even more difficult to hit. So they're going to maybe find some more offense that way. But I was laughing about this with Robin the other day. I said, everything they're doing is to try to shorten the game of baseball, right? It takes too long. There's no clock, whatever. It takes too long. So now we're on pitch clocks, and the pitch clock is going to even crazier this year. Yeah. Like our hitters have to be in the box at 10 seconds. The pitcher has to be releasing the ball at 20 seconds.
Right. And
so they're doing all this, but then they're taking away the shifts and they're taking away all this other stuff. So it's just going to get longer because there are going to be more runs again.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's just like, oh, we're going to do this, but then we're going to score more runs. And the game's going to be longer, and then they're going to get mad and try to figure some other crazy way to make the game faster.
I've never understood the people who say like, "Oh, baseball's too long. I can't watch it." It's like
the same.
If you complain about baseball being too long, then like baseball is just probably not for you. Like you probably shouldn't watch it.
It's shorter than football. Like unless you go to a game and it's like either goes into extras or is 15 to 12, it's going to be a 2.5 to 3 hour game. Football takes longer than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just does. Like
they're the people who complain about that would say there's not a lot of action. And it's like, but you know this, and Patrick, you know this. There's just so many things going on between those pitches and so many decisions that you're making every pitch. Yeah. That if you're in tune with those types of things, you realize how great the game is because there's so much maneuvering going on and there's so many things that you're trying to gain an advantage on. That there's just that part is why I love the game. It's just all the digging you can do to try to create an advantage for your guys is the fun part.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get back into gaining advantages after the break.
Hey Connor, remember when we went to the Kimball Beecher Family Dentistry?
I do. It was a great spot.
They got us out. They got us in and out quick. Very thorough teeth cleaning, and they told me my teeth were amazing.
So they are good at lying as well.
Well, I would hope that. I would hope not.
Well, normally at the dentist, like you don't get in and out very quick, and like they like got us right in, took care of everything. The nurses were great. The dentist was great that we saw. They have multiple locations, and they take care of you. So we have to shout out the Kimball Beecher Family Dentistry.
Mr. Beecher is the man.
He brought us he's the GOAT. And now a message from our friends at Vibrant, reminding you that you can't stay in college forever, but you can do the next best thing, which is join Vibrant's professional development program. It's like taking a 9-month course in the fundamentals of banking, but instead of shelling out tuition, you're the one getting paid. You'll also get expert career coaching that helps you choose the Vibrant career that best fits your skills and interests. And sure, Vibrant headquarters is no Iowa City, but it does have a full-size basketball court, a fitness center, an on-site coffee house and restaurant, and an employees-only bar. Best of all, they're recruiting now. Get all of the details at vibrantcreditunion.org/launch.
We are back, episode 31 of Teed Up with Coach Marty. Coach, so I've been told by several people, actually, that you are a really, really good sign stealer. That you're really good at it. Kind of, I guess, walk me through that. I don't understand it. Connor has a better understanding of how that kind of goes about. I understand what stealing signs is. Like, I'm not an idiot, but, well, maybe I am an idiot. But anyways, we're besides the point. But
we won't debate that.
Yeah, that's another conversation. But like, kind of what goes into that, and like, what are you looking for in that, and kind of, just like what do you see?
Maybe not sign stealing.
That's what I was just going to say.
It's not sign stealing. It's
gaining advantages.
Advantages.
You're not cheating. You're not trying.
No,
right?
It's not. Yeah, like it's not.
No. So what you're talking about is like pitch tipping and just ways that maybe the pitcher is, again, just tipping what he's throwing. So the sign stealing stuff's is like really hard anymore because so many guys are doing numbers and the wristbands and all that stuff. So it used to be, you did, if catchers were given signs at second base, so you were trying to figure out what the signs were and trying to relay that to the hitter. And that stuff will still go on. And I don't think anybody who plays baseball has any problem with that. The problem is when you're using technology and you're doing
where do you draw the line?
That way. Yeah. Like that's where I think anybody in baseball would draw the line. It's like, okay, are you looking at a camera? You putting a guy in center field like that they used to say in the old stadiums that would stand up on off speed, like do all these crazy things like that. I don't think is what you should be doing. But if the pitcher is giving something off, or if the catcher, you're at second base and they have a really easy sequence that's going on. Yeah. So like for people who don't know, they might just put a series of like 5 different signs down. And it could be as simple as it's just the first sign. And that's what the pitch is, or the second sign, or they chase a sign, or just all these like things that your guys are aware of so they can try to pick up on. And then if you do, then you try to figure out a way you can relay that into the hitter. And I don't think anybody has any issue with any of that plays baseball. Yeah. That's like the gamesmanship stuff that they don't have a problem with. But when you're doing technology and you're banging on a trash can, doing stuff like that, that's when it gets a little bit, I guess, murky for most people. But the pitch stuff is, we were talking a little bit about this before we got on, is baseball at the college level, there's been so much more video available the last probably 4 or 5 years. We have Synergy. I don't know if you guys use Synergy as your scouting tool. So we have the same thing in baseball. So basically every time you go into a series, you're going to have every pitch that those guys have thrown up to that point. And you usually have the center field camera in most cases, and that's what you want. And then you're just watching, and it's, those puzzles you have, the pictures that you have side by side, and you're just trying to find the differences. Yeah. That's what you do. Really. It's just like, okay, he delivers. I'll watch all of his fastballs. Okay. What happens? How does his body move? What's his arm slot? Where's his glove? All that stuff. And then you watch off speed. And does it look the same? Or is the glove, setting in a different place? Or is it away from his body? I mean, there's stuff like that all the time. Yeah. And so that's what you're trying to figure out. And I would say a normal weekend, you're probably going to have something on 2 arms. Right. You're just hoping one of them's the important one. Yeah. Not the guy who's only thrown a couple innings. And then you get into the game, and you might pick up more stuff just because it being in person. Maybe you have visual of the ball, just stuff like that. Those types of areas that you can't necessarily see in the video, but that stuff happens all the time. And then you may have a great relationship with a coach that you just played, and you're not going to see them again. And you talk to them, and he said, "Hey, David's tipping. He's doing this." And you're like, "How didn't I pick that up? I got to go back. Hey, we got to figure this out." I mean, we do that in the fall with all of our guys. Like when I go in the scrimmage, I don't go in the dugouts. I go out in the field. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of walking around, at second base. Can I see into his glove when he's come set? That happens a lot. So the runner can just literally look into that guy's glove and relay to the batter what he's getting. So that's what we're trying to pick up on the fall. And Robin will have a lot of the pitchers not throwing. They're looking for those things. So you're really trying to knock all that stuff out in the fall. But they're creatures of habit, man. Like they'll get right back into things that they do. We had this is a good story. You guys will like it. We were at Houston in the regional in 2017, and they had the conference pitcher of the year, left-hander. And we had every pitch once he got to the stretch. and so especially at second, like his glove was like really wide open, and he had a really good changeup. And I mean, from the center field camera, I mean, you can see these changeup grips. So you knew as a runner you're going to be able to do that. And they figured it out like in like the 3rd inning, but then by the 5th inning he was doing it again. Yeah. Even because you get into that moment and you just start doing it again. So that has happened a lot where you can, it's also frustrating. You go into a series and you're like, okay, we got stuff on this guy. And then they had figured it out and he's not doing it anymore. Right. And that's the worst. Yeah. You're like, cuss words going on. And you're like, okay, I got to figure something out.
That was my next question. Like, have you ever, like, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this.
You get burned by it. That's what you're going to ask, basically, right?
Well, it was like, no, not even that. Like, how, as a coach, like, let's say your guy's tipping, but you don't know that. How, like, can you figure it out? Like, that they have figured, like, can you figure out how they figured that out? Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's certain things you're listening for, like relays from the dugout that may be coming, like names, numbers. Like, when you start to hear them use different cadence with how they're talking to the hitter, that can be, you're always watching the runner at second to see if they're doing something. Like some guys will have their hands higher and it's off speed. Their hands are kind of towards their knees. It's fastball. They can be stepping. They can be looking. There's just a lot of things they can do. So you're constantly watching that. But the Spidey sense stuff is like, they're hammering everything we throw right now.
Yeah.
The timing is right. They're on everything, and you're just like, okay, something's going on here.
So then do you change signs mid-game, or how does that work?
Yep, you could do that. Like, anytime you notice something, you're talking to your middle guys or your catcher, and you just say, hey, Cade, our catcher, go out. They got him. They got him at second. Change it up. A lot of guys now. I mean, we have the signal thing, the wristbands. I mean, that's you're not picking that.
Right.
If they are getting something, it's from the pitcher.
Yeah.
But anyway, you just now they used to have a card in your hat, and the catcher could just, instead of having to go out there, because now we're limited on the number of times that we can go out to the mound, the catcher defensively. They just may have a card and say, "Hey, 3," and they look at 3, and it's okay, third sign.
Right.
Something that's really easy to switch up. So that's the stuff that was happening prior to these wristbands, and you're seeing it in the MLB. The catchers kind of have it on their mitt, and they're just punching in a number. And I think there's like a microphone in their
something
hat,
in their hat,
and it's just fastball, whatever, one spot, which means away. Stuff like that they get. So it's a lot harder to get them from the signal standpoint, but you're always going to get them from pitchers, and that's going to happen till the end of time.
I remember, not going to use any names here, but we were playing.
I know this story.
We were playing, I think you do too. We were playing a team, and they had a dude throwing, like a dude. And you're going to know what I'm talking about by the time this is done. He's in the bigs now. And we just fucking shelled him, like the whole game. Isaiah, we just went, I think it was we shouldn't have, nobody beat this guy, but we did. And we had everything. We had everything. Whatever he was throwing, we had it. And it was, some guys were, I think their coaches went out.
No, it was our bus driver.
It was our bus.
He was driving them, and he was at breakfast in the morning.
They were like, something's up. The kid said, but I'm pretty. So I think the bus driver, but I think from the player side, I think some of their guys went out and were talking, including this kid, including the kid, and he's like, I've never been hit like that. I don't know what, these are perfectly executed, like 96 up and in, and he turns on it and hits it 500 feet. That doesn't happen.
It's like he's got the guest pitch.
Yeah,
in
he's
MLB.
in MLB the show.
Video game.
He's like, that was a slider, down and out, and it's like
a 92-mile-an-hour slider away.
It's a front door cutter, and he just poked it. He just hit, and he was saying to somebody that's never happened to me. I don't They have something. They got me. That made no sense. Why? And so then they switched it up.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that happens night signs and things like that.
Yeah.
That you can. Those are the things you can pick up on video. What's maddening is when you can't figure it out. You're in the dugout and you're like, this happened. I was at Northern Iowa, or we were at Northern Iowa, and Indiana State was blasting us, and we're like, we know they have something.
Right.
And back in the old days. Not even old days, but guys don't do this as much. But you would have your middle infielders put their open hand behind their back, and if they gave an open hand that was an off-speed pitch, so your outfielders were aware what type of pitch they would get, and if it was a fist, it was a fastball. And they're just banging us around the yard, and we're like, what is going on? Something's going on. The third base coach was way down the line.
Way down, yeah.
And he was basically looking at Brandon Douglas, our shortstop. And just when it was a fastball, he'd just put his head down, and when it was off seed, he'd just keep it up. And till the seventh inning or so, we didn't know we knew something was going on, but we just couldn't figure it out.
Right.
That's so crazy.
By that time, it was too late. I mean, we were getting blasted, but then moving forward. But that's the type of stuff that happens. The base coaches are on stuff all the time. Your guys are on stuff. That's the cool part about what's happened here at Iowa, that it's worked for us so many different times, and it's given us, a lot of good advantages. Yeah. That guys are constantly looking for that stuff. I'll be down there in the dugout, and I'll have two pitchers come down and said, "Hey, check this out. He's doing this." I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't see that," and they're right on. And so that's happened quite a bit, and that's awesome. That's what you want, right? There's so many things going on. If there's guys at the end of the bench who are locked in, and that's what they're looking for, there's nothing better as a coach to know that you have, 27 guys that are on the bench not playing are that locked in and into the game that they're creating advantages for you.
That's so you talk about that. I mean, this is the type of stuff that is great with coaching, and this is the fun stuff. And I'm that kind of player in basketball, as are you. Okay, they're in this alignment, but they're gonna switch something. Like that was different. They're gonna run something else here. Like they,
Or this guy's here and
this
he's
guy-
not there.
yeah, like,
he's
this
usually here. That means it's going to him if
Yeah.
they moved him.
yeah, like this is the same alignment, but he's on the block. Or now like this, they already ran this play, so like there's gonna be a wrinkle in there. Like we
Gotta
do,
be a counter.
You hear calls and you hear stuff and. Okay, they called the same thing, but they added a C at the end. Okay, obviously that's counter, but like, where is the counter?
What is
coming in?
counter?
Yeah,
This is all like this is the basketball side, and this is stuff I'm good at in basketball, and you're good at. But like in baseball, probably part of the reason why I was good is like I didn't think about any of that until I started coming, like until I played at Iowa, and then it's like, okay, like I still remember like the first time I ever like really noticed something. I was up and like we were playing Nebraska, and this guy's gone now, so it doesn't matter. But you're like, yo, like this dude throws a lot of changeups. Like he throws a really good changeup. He throws a lot of them. And so I'm hitting. I'm like, okay, first pitch is a ball, and like he was when he released, like his arm came down when he separated his hands. His arm came way behind his back, and his hand just looked like huge, like it was surrounding the entire ball. And it was a changeup. And the next one, ball. And I couldn't really see that much of his hand, fastball. So then, like, I'm like, okay, like, and he's just really choking it, like, on a changeup. Like, he's really around. So then, like, later in the at-bat, like, I had a pretty long at-bat, and I just see, like, okay, well, like, his hand is just surrounding that ball. And then, sure enough, like, I think it was, like, 3-2 or 2-2 something later in the AB. And I see his hand fat. Okay, change up, sit back, wait. I get a hit, like, into right. That was, like, the first time I ever, like, really noticed something.
Didn't we score like 9 that inning?
No, yeah, we did. It was like a 9-run, 2-out rally.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane.
Isaiah hit a homer, and it's just like,
And we just kept, like, the hits were, it was all with 2 outs. And, like, that was, like, the first. And then from there, like, I don't know, it feels good, like, figuring that stuff out. Like, as a hitter, like,
No,
it's like,
it's
oh,
awesome.
like, that's sweet.
Absolutely.
It's like in basketball. It's like if I'm guarding this guy, I can look into his eyes and I can tell, like, okay, he's looking to pass.
Like, he's good. Yeah.
He doesn't want to shoot this. So then it's like, okay, so I'm going to put my arms out as opposed to up because I can look into his eyes and I can see, like, that's what he's trying to do.
Right.
And then it's like, and then I can look at a guy and I can tell if he's trying to go at me. He's trying to attack me. And then you figure you guard accordingly. And it's just, I don't know, just like stuff like that.
it's really important. I mean, that's the game. That's the game part. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
huge part about just, again, creating advantages and doing your homework and being prepared, right? I think that you probably think the same way, or, on the basketball floor. The one thing that we always talk about as a coaching staff is we will be prepared.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we're going to play great. It doesn't mean that we're going to win, but we will be prepared. We will be prepared for everything. And then the other little parts of coaching are exactly what you guys talked about, is coaching that out of your players and getting them to figure those types of things out, because you're not out there with them.
Yeah.
In the box, you got to figure some stuff out, man. Nobody's going to bail you out. You got to get in there and you got to figure
your
some
own
things
thing.
out.
Yeah.
So it's always really fun when you hear those types of stories when guys get it that way. You're like, okay, well, they have a chance to be pretty good then.
It was like,
It's crazy.
that was fun.
Because
That was sweet. Like, it made it easy.
we drill stuff like that every day, like late game situations. Like, okay, do we want to play 12? Do you want to play 12 tight? Like down the stretch, it's like, do you want to switch everything? Do you want to foul? Do we have fouls to give? Do we have timeouts left? What press break are we running? Like all this different type of stuff. Like we have situations like that every single day. So it's just like, okay, like they're at the free throw line. If he makes this, let's run this. If he misses, let's run this. And it's just like all this. I never used to think about that before I got to college. And then now we do it every day. And now it's like, okay, now I used to have to listen to guys like Ryan Kriener and like Riley Till, like ask those questions. And then now like I'm the guy like, okay, what are we in? What do you guys want? Whatever. And it's just weird.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, you think about, okay, at this point in both baseball and basketball, when you're playing teams in the Big Ten, when you're in both sports, it's going to be relatively even most of the time. So where are you gaining your advantage? What is different at the end of the game? So when it comes down to it in a basketball game, there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens, but a lot of the time, it's not a coincidence that most games are close. No. It's not. Like sometimes you're going to win by 20, whatever. You might be way better than the other team, but a lot of teams are fairly even, and the game's going to be close. So what advantage at the end of the game? It's the same in baseball. You got your ace on the mound, they got their ace. You got your best hitters, they got who's going to make a mistake, or how can we make them make a mistake? Yeah. What intricacy is, like, where are we going to be like, okay, no, we got them because of this. Like, we know, okay, we're down the stretch, and we're gonna run this play for this person because they've been switching all game. So we're gonna run a slip. Boom, he's gonna be wide open at the basket. Game over.
Or it's like we ran
shit like that. Like why okay, like we have this, and we just as soon as this reliever comes in, we got his stretch sign. So boom, we just need to get into the stretch. Yep. Once he's in the stretch, we got him. We're gonna win. Like it's just that, or at least you're gonna win most of the time. That's just the way that it is.
Like remember COVID year, I don't want to say the team name or whatever, but we had just ran a play and had gotten a J-Bull a 3 at the end of the half. And so we ran that play, but it was a counter the next game. So it's like pretends to go off and then comes right back. Yeah. And the coach, easy. And so as we set it up, their assistant coach who had the scouts screaming, "Hey, they're gonna run this, da, 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 da. He's coming, Bohannon coming off the stage." And then Jordan bumps it back, hits a 3. And my dad turns. I was on the bench. He turns. He's like, "He's so fucking smart, huh?" Like,
this guy. He was at the dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
He was at the dinner. It's
just like
the dinner where they invented the game.
Yeah, with Naismith and.
We call it, that's Abner Doubleday in baseball. That's just like, Abner's on the other dugout.
Yeah.
My dad do the same thing.
My dad always says he was at the dinner. Like this guy was at the dinner.
Abner's in the other dugout. That's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Okay, I want to ask you ejection stories. Like anything that comes to mind, you or other coaches, aka Coach Heller.
So a couple. I've never been ejected, which is wild because I have red hair and I have short fuse, and I guess I just know where to stop.
Yeah,
I know where the line is. Even growing up, like as bad as my temper was, I never got kicked out. I never got technicals, any of that stuff. But anyway, we were at Nebraska. We were thinking we thought it was a tough night. We didn't feel like the home plate umpire was doing us any favors, and of course we're losing or whatever. Or it was a tight game and things were just going against us. And the umpire looked over in the dugout and just said, "Hey, that's enough," or whatever. And then I think the next pitch was like a ball or something like that. And I said something like, "Of course," didn't cuss, didn't do anything. He looked at Rick and threw him out. And I was just like, sweet, I'm a head coach.
I got to.
But that happened. Rich is like, "Me? I didn't say anything." And I'm just like, yeah, that's me. So anyway, and at Nebraska, the worst part about Nebraska is there's no visitors clubhouse and you're in the first base side. Like when you get kicked out, like you have to walk behind home plate in front of the Nebraska dugout all the way down the left field line to go out because that's where the gate is. So like, and they have great crowds. So it's like 6,000 people, 7,000 people, and just giving it to him. And here I was the one who got it tossed. There was another time we played at New Mexico State when I was at UNI. And this was after Coach Heller had a really bad accident in like 2000, the winter of 2000, like November of 2005, like bad. I mean, thought he was dead bad. And right. I was right there I was there because I was with him. And so he was in a sling. So I was coaching third. And then we had a pitching coach who's now the head baseball coach at Truman State. Dan Davis is his name. And we are getting... So it's New Mexico State, so it's like playing in Colorado. It is altitude,
home runs,
and wind blows out 40 miles an hour.
Yeah,
and we were lift it.
We were getting crushed. That game was 38-14.
Oh my god!
You guys put 14 up.
Yeah, and got beat by 24.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And it like we walked like 20 guys. It was the kid. I'm not kidding. The kid of the umpire was behind home plate in New Mexico State gear. And anyway, Double D got, our pitching coach, he got tossed. And then, like, Rick's trying to go out and save him. And so he's running out there in a sling. That's all I can remember. He's got a great run, as we know. Can you imagine throwing a sling into this thing? And anyway, he gets tossed, and the kid is behind home plate saying, "Give it to him, Dad! Give it to him, Dad!" What? And we're just like, "Oh, this is gonna be awful."
Yeah, kidding me? Yeah.
So anyway, that was a good one. You guys, he had one at Indiana State that I think everybody knows about. That was unbelievable.
That's an
so
all-time
if you,
great video.
He'll kill me for this, but whatever.
It's fine.
He just go, Rick Heller ejection, Indiana State, and you'll see an absolute show. Yeah. And literally his AD after the game told him, was like, "You had every right to do that. It was so bad."
That's a good AD.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, myself, I haven't gotten run before. And it seems like there's one or two of them. You're not out of Rick, but just that you were a part of it from somebody else getting run or whatever. So it's interesting for sure.
Yeah.
But it's wildly entertaining.
Absolutely. It's awesome. I never got ejected. Actually, I did get ejected once.
You got
but-
ejected
You walked the line a little bit.
You got ejected like
in college?
You got ejected
No,
3
you
games
got
ago.
a little red ass. So I
No,
always
I'm
know
talking
like
about
you're
baseball.
Oh,
I
baseball.
got ejected in basketball for
Yeah,
sure.
I was gonna
So
say
you got ejected.
That
three-
isn't-
You got ejected literally like 3 games ago.
No, I got ejected. That was bullshit, though. Out of all the games I should have been ejected in my career, that was really bad.
I was
the
so
refs had a
confused.
bad day that day.
I was so
and I would
confused.
tell them that to their face. I should have been ejected, like probably more than not ejected technicals. But I never got ejected in baseball. I went out one time. I thought I was safe at first. The guy called me out. I'm running out. I'm like, can you get any help on that? Like, just very slight. He said, "What'd you say to me?" I said, "You need any help?" And he goes, "You're out. You're gone." I said, "Whoa." Like, I was like, wait. Like, why?
You're
And
in
he
high
was-
school?
Yeah, in high
Like
school.
they really want the 16-year-old. They really want to
said-
hear it from the 16-year-old kid.
I was like, "Can you get any?" I said, "Can you get any help on that?" And he said, "Wait, what?" And I said, "Do you need any help?" And he was like, "See ya. You're gone. You're gone." And I was like, "Whoa." I was talking about from the other ump, like da da da. He's like, "No, you can't say that to me." I'm like, "Okay, fine." He's like, "All right, we'll forget this ever happened."
I just did.
Yeah. He said, "We'll forget this ever happened." I was like, "Okay." Like, I just ran out to right field. But
Wait, so did he not?
no, he didn't eject me. I ran out. Yeah, he didn't toss me. He threw me out.
you
He's
got to
like,
take backsies, and that's pretty amazing.
I literally had take back. I was like, wow, like that was insane.
Was it varsity baseball?
Yeah, it was varsity. We were playing up at Valley. We were playing Waukee and Valley. like, in a
Zay got
doubleheader.
tossed.
Isaiah got tossed before. So did Oliver.
Isaiah got
Martin.
tossed in those games, didn't he?
No,
Vague. I don't know. I feel like I remember.
a lot of us used to
you
get
guys
tossed.
had a good team.
We did. We should have won the whole thing. We should have. We had a good team. We had good players. It sucks.
Patrick, you couldn't
lost
do
in a lot of
anything like just
championships.
pinch runner or something.
I thought about going out to pitch my senior year.
There you go.
Just to throw. I can throw it pretty hard, but like also like I haven't thrown in years.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't have been a strike thrower.
No, I have no idea how to pitch. Like I can just throw it as hard as I can.
Yeah.
That's about all I've got.
That's good. That's good enough
Not
sometimes.
bad.
Yeah. So like the coach Coach O'Meara tried to talk me into it, and I was like, yeah,
Coach O'Meara, what a guy.
I'm all
He's
right.
gonna listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
I bet.
I was like, no. I wish I did. It would have been fun, but I wouldn't have been very good.
Give me the biggest rival and why is it Nebraska?
Yeah, it's Nebraska.
Okay, for sure.
Without question, it's Nebraska. I don't know. I mean, I just think that's the way it should be. And I know that staff really well just because you're on the road so much and you see these guys, and so we sit at the same places and watch the same guys. And
Do you
talk.
like them?
Yeah, I do, and I think they do a good job. But it's the jersey, it's the colors, it's the atmosphere. It's a great baseball atmosphere over there. They draw really well. It's probably, I think if you polled most people, they would probably say that's the nicest park in the league.
Yeah.
Nicest basketball arena.
Yeah,
is
it's
so
just
nice.
really
Their
it's really
park
nice,
is
and
so
they come out just like Hawk fans do. They do the same. So you go over there and it's a great atmosphere, and I love beating those guys. I mean, I like winning against anybody, but it's certainly better against them, and I would imagine they say the same thing. And it gets chippy, and it should, and not in a way that goes over the line. Just I remember it got really chippy. We played them at home a couple years ago. And it may have been their first time there, their second year. I don't know. That staff's only been there for 3 or 4 years. But I actually played against the head coach when we were in a regional in 2001 at UNI, and I was playing. He was at Nebraska. He was their starting shortstop. So anyway, we've known each other for a long time. But, there was chirping back and forth between the staff, between the players. And then the next day I go over to him. I was like, isn't that kind of what it's supposed to be? He goes, yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. And then you see him the next day and everything's fine, that type of stuff. So it's definitely them. I was thinking about it for you guys. It's got to be Illinois right now, right?
Yeah. Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Iowa
Wisconsin,
State.
yeah. And Iowa State, yeah, I kind of forget. I was thinking about more in the league.
But like Iowa State
just
is kind of
weird.
like what you said. It's like I don't necessarily like it's more so just like the jersey, the logo. It's not necessarily like I don't
I
know.
got no beef with any of
Yeah.
their players.
Yeah, exactly.
Or coaches.
Exactly. Like I have no problem with any of their
I
players.
don't like
or
the
coaches.
fans.
Yeah.
I
don't
hate the
like
fans, and I hate the logo just bothers me. But like,
Yeah.
no problem with any of the players, any of the coaches. They don't do it. They're not dirty. They don't do
Yeah.
anything cheap. Like they're fine. They're a good team. It's like I have no problem with those guys. I can't say the same about like other teams. Like there's reasons why I don't like other specific teams.
Yeah.
I won't get into that here, but
We don't like Wisconsin. It's obvious.
Yeah.
We don't like- Illinois is the same as Iowa State. I had no, like they play hard. I don't think they're dirty.
Physical.
They have
It's
good
just-
players. It's physical.
it's
It's,
what
the way
it
it
should
should
be.
be.
Exactly.
That's not the case with other teams. It's just not.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's why. So there's different reasons why you don't like different teams.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's like Illinois. Like again, I like Underwood. I've liked players on their
Picked
team.
you in a street fight. You got.
I did see that. That was funny. That
Like
was
in a
funny.
what is it, like a Pizza Hut parking lot or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, it's pretty good.
He
brings
do
that up.
Papa John's?
He brings it up like a lot. The Pizza Hut parking lot.
Really?
Yeah. Like that wasn't the first time he's brought the Pizza
He
Hut
said that
parking-
before.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
Well,
but
not about you. I'm saying like he's
Right.
talked about like how he was like he would fight in a Pizza Hut parking lot. Like
That's hilarious.
I don't know.
But I think he's a good coach. I mean, it's like I don't like playing him. I don't like their fans. Again, it's like I would say, I don't like their fans. I don't like the people there. But that's a rivalry. I'm sure they don't like our fans.
Yeah.
Iowa
Well,
State
it's kind of the
people,
way. I guess at the end of the day, it's like anything else. You hope it's never going to work out this way, but you hope that that's the way it is. They don't care for each other, but it's respectful. It doesn't go over the line, and people can go up to the line and understand that it's like there's like human beings involved here,
Right.
but it never. I mean, there's always going to be. We have them. They have them. Everybody has them. That just take it too far. But you hope, like from the actual on the floor stuff or on the field stuff, that when you walk off the field, it can be over for that day.
Yeah.
That's what you kind of hope. And it should get a little spicy sometimes. I don't think that's bad.
Do you remember when we played Penn State
Yeah.
and we had I think it was COVID, or it might have
Yeah.
been
It was. It was the. Yeah, it was COVID.
I think it was COVID.
Yeah.
And we had the benches clearing,
Yeah.
because I had my surgery, so I was out.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing.
You were on crutches.
So the one time we have a benches clearing brawl, I'm on crutches.
Well,
come
we
on.
had won the first two games.
Yeah.
Well, that's a weapon.
We had
the
won
crutches
the-
are a weapon.
Yeah, that's right. We could have used it.
I was
But
slow.
we had
though.
won the first two games. It's
Yep.
game 3, and
We had no business winning.
no, we were coming back. We
yeah,
were down
got
like
'em on the
4.
ropes.
We were down like 4-1 in the ninth
Yeah.
or whatever, and then we just started putting stuff together.
Started choking.
And they helped us. They walked some guys, and they do, and they were kind of going up in flames, and they ended up throwing a guy out at the plate to end the game.
Sure.
Isaiah had a hit, and then Sure got thrown out at the plate that would have tied it. But they were imploding. They were going to lose. Like that's what was going to have to happen. They were going to have to just make some crazy play.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of a collision at the plate. It wasn't like super. Brennan was out by a lot, and so you're kind of in like a really awkward spot at that point as a runner. And so there was a little bit of a collision, and it wasn't that bad. And the catcher kind of spiked it, which I'm fine with because it was emotional or whatever. But then their bench was like on our side, like quick, and the pitcher who literally almost he blew it. He was terrible. He gave up 3 of the runs, and he was the one imploding. He's like waving by at our bench, and we won the series.
Yeah.
And so whatever, it's emotional, and I get all that type of stuff. But that was really, I'm trying to think if there was another time. I don't know that there's been another time.
Not for
here.
me.
In junior college, when I was playing, there was benches cleared.
It takes some nuts to to wave goodbye, like when you seriously were the reason that
That's
the
what
game
we thought.
almost was close.
He did not even come close to being able to say he won the game.
Yeah.
Like as the close, he was brutal,
I think he's not at Penn State anymore.
throwing balls. Like the
So-
guy just sucked.
Yeah,
But that
good
was
arm.
awesome.
It is a good arm. He just he's a young guy. I think he's a freshman and
It was
whatever.
raining.
Yeah,
It was raining. Like
Yeah.
So coach was like, wet ball, base
Yeah.
hit on grounder in the outfield.
Well,
like,
going back to
sails
what
it.
we already did, Brennan was on second, and he was trying to get in the kid's glove, like the pitcher's glove, and so he didn't have a good primary, which is the initial lead wasn't big enough. With 2 outs, you want to make sure you get off as far as you can because you have to score in a hit.
Yeah.
You don't want 2 hits to have to score you, and so he got caught dead with his feet, and he didn't get a secondary, which is the 2 shuffles after the primary when the pitcher's delivering it. And
I
cost
remember
him.
that. I know that
Yeah.
from baseball.
No,
I
yeah.
used to play.
And so that cost him. Like, and credit to their kid. The kid threw a literal one hopper on the plate with a wet ball. I mean, it was a good play, but it was enough up the line that I think if Brendan has like 5 more feet, 10 more feet, he probably can avoid it. But it's just kind of bad luck. Isaiah hit the first pitch.
Yeah.
He may have figured out Brendan after one more pitch. Then like, I can't get in there, and I'm gonna. So it's like, you can't, you're mad and you're like, what are you doing? You should look at the video and you're like, what is going on? And then he tells you and you're like, okay.
The same thing happened to me at Ohio State. It was like the second inning. We were playing and we're like, yo, like you can get in this guy's glove at second. And the scout, everything. It was Friday night. So it was ace on ace, right? Donnie was throwing and I'm in his glove at second. I'm tipping. I got it. Like I got him and we knew it. I was tipping a Mitch Bow but I couldn't, he was a lefty. So I was like, had to be further over. And I tipped Mitch. I had no secondary lead. Mitch gets a hit on a pitch. It was like a breaking ball. And I get thrown out at home. And because I had a horrible lead.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, shoot, like that shouldn't happen. Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, like you got to have a better lead. Like your lead was brutal. Like you have to have a better lead to score because like I'm not slow. Like, I mean, we have slower guys than me. Like I should be able to score. Obviously coach is going to send me, but like I was so close to the base because I was tipping Mitch. So I was like, it's good he got a hit, but like,
Mitch, can you hit it in the gap?
Mitch, like don't hit it right up the middle. Like hit it.
Yeah.
Just
It's his fault.
Move it over.
No, and yet that's some of the stuff you got to figure out as a coach and a player. It's like, okay, is it worth?
I was still a freshman.
Is it worth? Yeah, and is it worth that? You don't know. I mean, it's just you live and you learn. But I'm in most cases, I tell them if you can tip it, you got to tip it. You just have to work your butt off to get out there afterwards.
Right.
Because it's just if you know what's coming in today's world with how good the pitchers are, you at least have a little bit better shot. But like you were talking about it before, is I tell them all the time, you can't get mad when we get crossed up because it's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
and it's going to worst is it's going to happen at a shitty time. It's going to be like strike 3 for you, and it's going to be really frustrating. Or obviously there's runners in scoring position. It just you got to live with it because over time you're going to be so much more in the black for all that stuff that you're doing that there's going to be some times where you want to slam things because I got crossed up or whatever, and we just have to live with it.
Yeah. It's the worst.
It's awful.
It's happened. It's
you know what's
happened to me a
funny?
couple
It
times.
seems like it's
sucks.
always the same dude.
Yeah. Sure used to get crossed up all the time, didn't
or
he?
Is
that just me? I feel like I noticed it with him.
It's the same offender at second base who's bad at it. That trying, God bless him, he's trying.
Yeah.
But like he can't figure out. And I was like, hey, what pitch is a fastball? I was like, yeah, but you did this. He goes, oh, I did?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like,
you tipped this instead, bro. Like, come
it's
on.
Like, that stuff happens in the, you guys know this. You play, there's guys that the elevator stops a couple floors short of the top, and they're not great at that stuff. And unfortunately, they happen to be in places sometimes, and it's just frustrating. I played with them.
You just try to keep them out of those situations.
Yeah, you
that
just hope that they hit a triple and they don't have
Normally they can hit.
Yeah.
Normally those guys are good at hitting.
Yep.
and
then
it's like, God.
And like I said to the hitters, sometimes you just as soon as it happens, you just gotta just stop. Don't even pay attention to it anymore. Just move on because it's not worth it. Once you get crossed up, but it stinks every time it happens. It's frustrating.
It still the good outweighs the bad, in my opinion. Like I would take any positive that happened from like we were playing somebody and like the dude, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. We have their signs. He's throwing 96. Like I foul one off. I foul one off. We have the sign. He's throwing hard. Like I foul one off. And right. Like I just wanted fastballs, but then like he throws like a slider. Like in a 2-2, like he throws like a 1-2, 2-2 slider. It was like a good slider, and I just smoke it like and the center fielder makes a diving catch, and we lose, which sucks. But it was like having that versus like anything else, like getting crossed up or anything. It just takes the best part away from The worst part is you have players that will tell you, I don't want to know what's coming. That's weird.
And
guys would say that, and I'm like, why not? Like, why would you not want? Imagine like we're scouting, and You're just like, oh well, this play is going to this play's going to Zach Edey. We know he's going to do this and he's going to come back. That's what this play means. And you're like, oh, I don't want to know.
I'd rather just react.
I'd rather just nobody says that.
Well, the thing that happens is what they do is they get away from like what their normal approach is. So of staying relaxed and being on time and all that stuff, they get antsy.
Yeah.
And so they know a fastball's coming, so they just start getting big, right? Everything and that's what frustrates them. It's like I can't stop it. I'm like, well, listen, nothing changes. You just know it's coming. That's it. The same approach happens. It's got to be in this area for me to hit it, all that type of stuff. Or my favorite is the guys who don't hit breaking balls well, and they know what's coming, and they're swinging at the breaking ball. I go, what are you doing? Well, I know what's coming. I was like, yeah, but you don't hit them. Yeah. So take them.
Just take it.
Just take it and get your fastball. Like, I don't understand what
They're
you're
gonna
trying
throw
to do.
one eventually.
You don't have to hit them all. Like, you just this makes it easy. Now I can really hunt what I want,
right? And
wait till I get it until you get 2 strikes, and then you have to probably swing at one if it's in the strike zone. But you don't have to hit them all. Right. Just your approach is the same. Now it's just I know what's coming, and I can time this up, and it makes hitting way easier. But it's those guys that have trouble doing that. They just get antsy. And it's like you don't have to hit the thing over to Carver. You just need to hit it like over the fence. Like, so
counts for the same.
That's it. Yeah, they all count the same.
All right, last question. We've gone a little long, but I feel like it's been good, so it's fine. I've tried to explain to guys on the basketball team, like they're like on pure power. The example was always like Luka or Jack Nungy. Like, they're strong dudes. If we're just throwing soft toss, like, can they hit a home run? I'm like, no, they can't. And everyone on the basketball team is like, oh no, like they like for sure. I'm like, no. You can't just, first of all, they probably have a crappy swing. So like, explain, first of all, we got to pick out the worst basketball player who would be a baseball player, because we did vice versa. So we got to do.
I would be besides you. I would be the best.
Yeah, probably.
I would be the best.
Pemzo was here. Pemzo could hit.
Yeah,
Pemzo was a pretty good baseball player when he was in high school at Wahlert.
Yeah.
He was one I just knew. But outside of that, they would always tell me, I told you this, Toussaint was like, that was awful.
No, because he never swung a baseball bat before.
We got a lot of guys like that.
Well, it's just it's. I was thinking about that on the way here. Basketball players are rarely good baseball players. Yeah. There's some baseball players that were decent basketball players, but with just the size and there's just not really any transferable things.
Right.
Like when in hitting.
No,
that's on the basketball court. There's like none. No. Like the way you have to move to hit there's just nothing there for a basketball player. And then obviously the taller you get, the more athletic, all that stuff is changing. But no, none of those guys would hit a homer.
That's why I try to sell them. Like it's like it's just different.
Yeah.
Like your swing, like your strength, it doesn't all translate.
And they may whatever. Maybe they can run into something, and it just the moon and the stars align, and it syncs up, and they square it up and go.
Kind of like my homer in slow pitch.
Yeah.
I hit a homer. I was the only one on the team that hit a homer.
Wind blowing out,
Wind was blowing out a lot.
So do you think you would hit one out?
No. Because the slow pitch feels way shorter.
Well, yeah.
But no.
And the bats are juiced.
You hit with topspin. Like,
yeah, that's tougher.
I don't know what that even means.
Did you guys see, it was on Twitter. It was really cool because you don't think of it this way. So Schwarber's home run obviously was just an absolute bomb.
Oh, no.
So he hit it like 120 miles an hour at, what was the launch angle? It was like 21 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it went 488 feet, whatever it went.
Yeah.
They had Judge hit one, the same exit velocity, 120, the same launch angle, but it only went like 387 feet.
Yeah.
And it's just how the ball's spinning off the bat. Schwarber got what we would call backspin, so it's going to carry. So you throw a fastball with backspin, right? So you want it, that's going to ride. You throw a curveball with topspin because you want it to go down. So he probably topspun the ball, and so it's just not going to travel, even though you hit a ball that far with topspin. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But anyway, just how different it can be just with how you spin it. So anybody who topspins it, they usually do that to the pull side. So it's just not, they don't carry the ball. Like PD will topspin some balls. Trying to think, Keaton topspins balls to the opposite, to the pull side. That's why he has so much power the other way.
He backspins to right.
Yes, because most guys will do that. They'll topspin it to the pull side and they'll hit it in the air. And Keaton has really, massive opposite field power.
Yeah.
And PD does. PD has pretty good oppo power too, but they topspin it to the pull side, so they don't hit. Now Keaton will still hit some balls out that way, and so will PD, just because they have enough bat speed and enough. If they catch it right, it'll go. But
Peyton would hit with backspin. Those monstrous like
he just
those.
wouldn't get him up quite high enough.
Right. He would hit topspin too.
Yeah.
Though, like those topspin doubles over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember that home run he hit off Probst in the
Me?
World Series?
Me?
Yeah.
That was backspin. I had backspin.
I was thinking about that today because it was
That
like
went
the
pretty
similar
far.
score. We got beat 3-1 in that game that
Really?
you hit it to walk him off was 3-1, and we were like nobody on and 2 outs, and then it was like hit, air, bomb.
Norman Homer.
Yeah.
Austin
and hit,
Martin hit.
and then you
home
absolutely
run.
hit a nuke and bat flipped him.
Ung sent me that like a video of that like last week. It's hilarious.
But don't you? I
of
saw the
nowhere.
same thing. But don't you think that is a really tame bat flip in reference to what people do now?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that when you did it, I'm just like, oh, Connor, come on, man.
I used to, but see, like I bat flipped in high school. Like I didn't care. Like I still think hitting a no doubt home run is like one of the best feelings I've ever had.
Pretty good feeling,
Like hitting a
yeah.
no doubt, like okay, that shit's out. Like that is a great feeling. Like
Yeah.
I
You didn't run down the bases like this.
Runs
Like,
carrying them.
Naylor, he played at Iowa City.
Did he?
Our first year, he was on Ontario Blue Jays. He was on that team. Josh Naylor was. He walked in, he looked like Babe Ruth.
yeah, babe.
I mean, he was just a high school kid, just absolutely hitting nukes.
Yeah.
I mean, that year he was there. That was the fall, but Schwarber was. We played those guys at home that year. Schwarber was on Indiana at that time.
That guy can hit.
They could really hit the whole team,
Yeah.
and he was good. There was another guy that ended up in the big leagues on that team, so a hitter. They were really good, but he just hit one off the hitter's eye. The other guy hit one of the Wigan pen. I swear to God that they picked it up in that parking
It
lot.
was that far.
Oh,
Just destroyed.
absolute nuke.
Rolled
Left
down
field,
the hill.
You know that silver hawk out there? It was so far over that hawk
Yeah.
in left field. You saw it hit concrete,
Yeah.
and bounce, which, for people who haven't been to our place, I mean, it's a pretty
It's
large
That's
amount
a
of
bomb.
space
That's a
between
bomb.
yeah.
that. Jake Adams used to do that too.
Those are nukes.
Yeah.
Like nukes. Newstrom could hit some balls out to right that were stupid.
This is going to keep on going so long because I
Yeah.
have nothing to do. But anyway, so Newstrom hits a walk-off homer against Ohio State.
Yep.
This would have been like
2016.
20, maybe it was.
It was-
No, Jake was on the team. It was 2017 because Jake hit a
Yes,
homer.
it was. I
We
was
were
the
down
same-
9-2, and Jake hit a homer, hit like a 3-run homer. Before that bat, I looked at, and this was late, like 7th inning probably. And I just I looked at Brickman. I said, if Jake hits a homer here, we're going to win this game. And he did. And then Newstrom ends up hitting a walk-off. Was it the 10th?
It was
Or
the
was
10th.
it was the bottom of the 9th?
I think it was the 10th. I thought
Well,
it
he
was
hit it over the hitter's high into the intersection
yeah.
that's right behind center field. Absolute bomb. And I'm recruiting in Wisconsin that summer, and random guy comes up to me and said, "Hey, I was at one of your guys' games this spring." I was like, "Oh, which one?" He goes, "Oh, Ohio State." I was like, "Oh, that was a good one." He goes, "Do you want that homer?" I go, "What?"
Yeah,
He goes, "That home run, the last home run. I got it. I walked across the street and picked it up in the." And I said, "Yeah, give it to
take
me."
it.
So in the fall, I saw Robert, and I was like, "Hey, here's your home run against Ohio State." He goes, "What?" Thanks, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
We were again, we just keep going, but we were at that game, me and Patrick. It was 1,000 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
It was so hot. It was like 9-1, and I wanted to stay because
I have no recollection of this.
I
be
swear to
honest.
God. I swear to God. We were
I believe
both
you.
there. We were there, and it's like the 4th inning, 5th inning, and we're down like 9-1 or like 7-1 something. And you're like, yo, like, we rode together. You're like, can we please go? Like, please. I'm like, I kind of want to stay. You're like, dude, it's so hot. Like, I want to leave. I'm like, all right, like, let's watch this last half inning, whatever. So we watch it. We leave, and then that happens.
Yeah.
Like, Adams hits a ball 900 feet. Bob hits one 1,000 feet, and they come back and win in the extras, and we're at home, and you're like taking a nap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude.
I don't blame you. It's 9-1.
Yeah.
Like,
He's literally like, please, like, can we just leave? Like, I just want to leave.
yeah.
I was probably tired.
I'm like, Patrick, come on, man. Like,
That was a fun team. That team could really hit.
oh yeah,
McCoy was on that team, and he's
Yeah.
chance to play in the big leagues. He's in AAA. Robertson in AAA.
yeah. I think Bob he'll get up there.
Yeah, I really hope so. And Mason felt horrible for Mason because guy got hurt for Seattle. They flew him to Detroit. And they have like a little taxi squad now with the big leaguers. It's like they can have like 2 or 3 guys on there. Maybe that number isn't right, but they can have a few guys on there. And basically it's just a matter if they're going to put that guy in the DL. And they didn't put that guy in the DL. And so Mason had to literally spend a night in Detroit and then jumped right back on the plane and went to AAA. And I was just like, oh, that sucked. I was
He's
texting
probably
him.
calling all his buddies.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
I mean, for him, he's 20.
He's grinding.
27, 28. He's grinding it out.
grinding.
And the Baltimore, he was with Baltimore. It didn't go great. Like he kind of plateaued. Got traded to Seattle. He had a really good year. I mean, the plays he makes defensively, I don't know if you see those on Twitter, but
they're stupid.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they're stupid.
So hopefully he gets a shot and Robert's close. There's a bunch of guys that are kind of up there.
I saw Allgaier in St. Louis, and he was close. Like I saw him when we went to the Phillies Cards game in Game 1. That was another thing we didn't talk about the Dodgers, but it's all right. But we don't have to get into that. Guess who's
I thought I was literally walking into my own funeral tonight when he's getting texts from you and it's like, we're definitely talking about the Dodgers. Like, too soon, man. That's terrible.
So we're recording this on a Thursday, which is the travel day. Game 3 of Phillies and Padres is it's tomorrow. Guess who's throwing out the first pitch?
I thought I saw this.
You know who it is.
Stairs?
Absolutely. Matt Stairs.
That ball hasn't came down
It
yet.
still hasn't
Jonathan
landed.
Broxton.
Jonathan Broxton. We were talking about it at training table today.
So bad.
That ball's still in the air.
I said, does anybody in this room know who Matt Stairs is? And Sam Close, he's the only Phillies fan. He raised his hand. Nobody else knew.
That's awesome.
And
I wasn't in there. I wouldn't know.
No,
who
he
Matt
wouldn't
Stairs.
know. But the Phillies fan, everyone else, like, who's Matt Stairs? I said, absolutely, exactly. You have no idea. But he hit one of the best home runs ever. Jonathan Broxton, Dodgers in L.A., 500 feet.
It wasn't in L.A., was it?
Oh, yeah.
It was. It's still in the air.
There's been so many defeats in my lifetime.
Especially to
as
the
Dodgers.
Phillies. Yeah.
Phillies the Cardinals are always hard on the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been what a time to be a Philly fan. Just a Philly in general. You got the Eagles, you got the Phillies, you got the Sixers. Who there's a lot of expectations for them. I don't know about the Flyers.
They're undefeated still. I don't think they're supposed to be that good, but they're like.
But yeah, I know enough Philly fans. It's obnoxious. You're probably first.
I'm up there.
Jeff Garbutt's the head rowing coach. Women's rowing coach from Philly. Or he's from Jersey, but he went to Temple.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been bad.
I always text Garbutt's son because I went to high school with
Yeah.
him, and I'm always texting him about all the Phillies sports.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself last night, it's like if the Phillies win and they're up two games to nothing, I'm gonna have to walk into that Hornets nest, and Connor's gonna be awful. And then they lost, and I was like, okay, well this won't be as bad.
We had it. It was 4-0. All Nola has to do is pitch somewhat decent, and he just. It's all right. I can't be mad at the guy. He's pitched his ass off, so I'm not mad at him. But
It'll be a good series.
he'll bounce back.
It'll be a good series.
We're in trouble tomorrow, I think. I don't know. Maybe not. Like Musgrove's tough. We'll see.
This is fine.
It's fine.
Finch hit Matt Stairs.
All the guys, yeah, absolutely.
Schwarber,
Bring in Broxton, and they don't have a 285-pound reliever though. They can bring in like Broxton was. There was just fat in the mound and the batter's box, and
He used to be somebody that was considered like to be a hard thrower though, and he would throw
was
like
good.
94 to 96.
Yeah.
He was good, but I'm just saying he was good.
yeah.
But he threw 94 to 96. Like he's not hitting 100. Like now, guys, if you throw 94 or 90, like you're not
Pedestrian.
Yeah, that's nothing. The guys are throwing 100. Helsley was throwing 103 when we were at the Cardinal game.
Yeah.
It's like
Couldn't throw a strike.
he couldn't throw a strike.
Brody will touch 102 every time out.
Like that's insane.
That's in college.
Yeah.
And you do see those guys. I mean, Tennessee had the Joyce kid who was hitting like 104.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
like stupid.
I saw something.
Bunt.
Yeah, no, you don't. That's even worse.
Yeah.
because then you got both eyes on him. Yeah, it's bad. I saw something where there was like for the last 3 years, like 1% of the playoff fastballs were above 100, and in the first part of the playoffs so far, it's been like 5%, which that doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a lot.
Yeah,
That's 5% of
5 times.
5% of all the fastballs being thrown are over 100. That's
so many
wild.
fastballs. I don't know. This is probably stupid, but I wouldn't be scared like facing 100 from a righty. Lefty's a different story. But from a righty, like I know it's 100, but like, how different can it be from 97?
Yeah, it's hard at that point.
It's all hard.
Yeah,
right?
at that point, it's the other stuff. It's like then
That's
you have
pretty naive of me to say, though. I don't know.
be fine.
Lefty, I'm good.
I wouldn't see it, so
Like
it doesn't even matter.
Alvarado throwing 97 mile an hour cutters
And then sinker, and then throws a 100-mile-an-hour sinker the other direction.
at your head too.
Yeah.
Like he has no idea where he's throwing.
Yeah, it's
Effectively wild.
It's really amazing what pitchers are doing in today's world.
We're getting off on a tangent here, but thanks for coming on.
This is awesome.
This has been fun.
I appreciate
Yeah.
both of you guys. The other thing I want to say, not to get too mushy on you guys, I just really, proud is not the right word. I just really respect who you guys are as people, and
thank you.
how representative, how well you represent not only our university but yourselves in your basketball program. I think a lot of you too just really appreciate the type of guys that you are, and keep doing your thing. You guys know that we always have your back, but that needs to be said. For in today's world, in a difficult situation, you're at a high level, high profile sport, you're playing for your dad, you have all these things that can be a real pain in your ass, and I think you guys handle it the right way, and I just always am really happy just following you guys. So it was great to be on, but just really am proud of who you guys are, and I know everybody else who knows you are they are as well. So
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
we appreciate that. Absolutely. It was awesome playing for both you and Coach as well. I mean, I know like we obviously had a pretty good relationship when I was playing, and you would have loved playing for Coach too. One of those guys, smart guy, always talk shop. Whenever
That's right.
Whenever there's no bad time to talk
points,
shop.
and there's got to be
Always.
points you don't take life too seriously, man.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me.
Enough
I have a
stress.
lot of those points.
Yeah.
But anyway, appreciate that. And thanks for
Absolutely.
coming on. This has been fun.
Good
Thanks,
luck
Coach.
Good luck this year.
Thank you.
A night out at El Rey's is a great time because you got the live music in the front, which is usually like some country vibes, a little bit, but you can go to the back and then it's like a nightclub type atmosphere. So like you get the best of both worlds from both sides, and bartenders take care of you. It's a good spot. We know some bouncers there, great dudes.
Yeah.
Shout out Loudon. And the owner is also a phenomenal guy. So
Based on the lines, you would think that
yeah,
the music is unbelievable, which it is. So I highly suggest that everybody goes to El Rey's.
it's packed all the time.
Now, from our friends at McDonald Optical. If Mr. McDonald is nearly as feisty as he was on the sidelines watching 8 through 10-year-old Jack and his son Nolan, that means if you go to his eye doctor place, you got to be in good shape. He's going to take care of you.
Yeah, he's going to take care. If you're having any issues with your optics, you got to go to McDonald Optical because he's definitely going to look after you. He's got the solution for whatever your problem might be. And great people over there, 100%.
And take care of you.
Yeah, without a doubt.